In this video, I'm going to show you how to study for your exams so that you can actually achieve good results in less time of studying. Now, this is coming from a student who achieved an ATAR of 99.95 during high school and has maintained a GPA of 6.75 through my electrical engineering degree, and I'm currently in my second year. So I've got two tips that I want to show you that if you implement them, you are rest assured guaranteed to achieve good results in your exam. So what are these two tips? The first one is to spam practice exams, okay? So many students I see fall into this trap of just going through the practice homework sets, the practice chapter question sets. They spend hours, days, even weeks just going through these resources, and then they'll spend so little time looking at the practice exam because they think that in order for you to practice doing exam, you have to be fully prepared after going through everything that you've learned throughout the semester or throughout the year. Well, I'm telling you that is actually incorrect. Practice exams and past exams are supposed to be your main source of preparations when you are doing exams. Okay, I'm gonna give you an analogy. Hopefully it will stick with you. Imagine you are an Olympics weightlifting athlete, okay? So the sport of weightlifting is when an athlete picks up a barbell from the ground and they gradually move the barbell up until it is in an overhead position. So in this sport, there are several movements that you need to practice, which is, there's a bit of deadlifts, there's also a bit of squats, try to bring the barbell up from, how you sort of kneel, and there's also an overhead press or a shoulder press movement to actually get the barbell up overhead. Now, do you think when the athlete is practicing for the competition, do you think they are going to just practice the squats, they're gonna just practice the shoulder press and the deadlift, or are they gonna spend the majority of their time actually going through the weightlifting motion? Obviously, if you are training for a weightlifting competition, you are gonna do the weightlifting motion, right? Because that is what you are going to be assessed on. You are not going to be assessed on the squats and the shoulder press and the deadlifts, right? Obviously not. That sounds kind of stupid, right? Well, that is literally what so many students are doing when they are preparing for the exams and their tests. They are going through the tutorial problems and the homeworks that the teachers have assigned them, which is, they're like the foundational stuff that teaches you for the subjects, right? They're like the squats and the overhead press and the deadlifts. Obviously, they do help because they are, like I said, the foundations of the topic and the subject, but they are not what you are assessed on. They are not what you are assessed on in your exam, okay? So now I'm telling you, throughout high school and throughout university, the exam questions are so different from the tutorial problems, from the chapter questions, and from the homeworks that the teachers assign you. Unless, obviously, the teachers give you the exam type questions, okay? Because the exam questions, they are made to sort of give an overview of what the entire subject is like. So, if you are practicing the homework questions and the chapter questions, you are conditioning your brain to be used to those questions. You're gonna be used to approach how the questions are set out and what is being asked in those questions. And then when exam time comes, you step into the room, you open the paper, and you're like, holy fuck, what is in this exam sheet? Because there will be things that you know, but a lot of the questions in the exam, they're not difficult, but it's it's a combination of different topics that have been merged together, and you don't get those in the chapter questions that you do for the individual topics throughout the semesters and the years. So if you just do the practice exams and the past exams, you will be used to the type of questions that will be asked, and I guarantee you they are very similar because because uni and high school exams, they have these few questions from only a few topics that gets repeated. It's almost like a replica of questions that get repeated every year, every semester. And if you do these papers enough times, I'd say 3 to 4 times, you'll realize that these questions keep popping up and they are almost identical. They're just the guys that make the questions, he literally just substitutes like 2 to 3 different numbers in each question. So then if you've done those questions before, it's almost like muscle memory where you're just doing the question and you're like, oh yeah, this. So you just follow through the process, but you just replace the numbers anyway. So it's like a guaranteed process that you're gonna get the questions right anyway. So I'm telling you, just make sure to do your practice papers. Just make sure to do the weightlifting motions like how Olympic athletes trains for that sport. Don't waste your time doing the tutorial problems and the chapter questions. You can save so much time if you just do the exams and the past exams to prepare for your real one. Okay, that's gonna be the first tip I wanna give to you guys. The second tip to actually study for your exams to achieve good grades in less time is to use spaced repetition. Now I'm going to give you a brief definition of what spaced repetition is. It is when you are utilizing how your brain, how the memory works inside your brain to combat that memory curve and to store information from the short-term memory into the long-term memory. Now this technique is so effective because it's literally it's like the best way for you to retain memory in the long term, right? So how does this work in relation to the point that I just gave you before? What you want to do is, ideally you want to go over the type of content that you've been doing every 2 days. But the special thing that you want to do is you don't want to go through the exact same thing, but you want to go through a very similar thing but different. So what do I mean by this? This is why I tell you to do the practice exams and the past exam papers, because the questions in there are very, very similar, but like I said, they're different in the sense that they have a few different values and questions are slightly different here and there, but overall they're very similar. So if you, let's say you go through the first exam, let's say you go through exam 2014 or something, and then you do the corrections on the same day, and then 2 days later you do exam version 2015, you will encounter similar types of questions, and then by 2 days, I'm telling you, you don't want to study in between those 2 days. It sounds kind of weird, like, oh, why am I not studying constantly, right? You're going to want to take a 1 day break where you don't even look at the content, and then on the third day, so 2 days after that, you do another set of exam. Your brain will almost forget what you have just studied 2 days prior, and it's going to try to extract that piece of memory when you're doing a similar type of question. Only the second time that you do it, you're probably going to forget it. But if you do get the question right, I guarantee you, you're actually going to remember how to do that question, like basically forever. So again, you're going to do one type of question in the 2014 exam. In the 2015 exam, you're going to encounter it again because the questions are very similar. When you encounter it, you're going to try to remember it. Your brain is going to almost forget it. And when you extract that piece of memory that your brain has almost forgotten, you will memorize it and remember it for such a long time. And this is going to apply to basically every question in the past exams and the practice exams, because they are very, very similar to the real ones. And every question in there is basically repeated. So if you do the entire paper several times, you're gonna re-encounter the same questions, and your brain is gonna constantly being conditioned to utilize spaced repetition, and you are gonna remember how to do the exact type of questions that are in the paper. Okay, so by this point, your brain is probably still having, several limiting beliefs, and you just keep telling yourself that there is no way you can only do one practice exam a day, and then every 2 days you just do another one, and you will master it, right? You're probably thinking, what if there are certain topics that are in the textbook that they just test you on that, that one weird question in the textbook that stops you from doing it right in the exam? Well, I'm telling you, would you rather focus on that one question that's probably worth only 10% of the entire exam? Or would you rather dedicate so much less time finding those weird questions to just doing the exams, so that you are guaranteed to get at least 80, even 90% of the exam correct? I'm telling you, just do the practice exams, and you will see that, like I said, 90% of the exams are going to be the same, and you are going to have no problems just breezing through the questions. And when you practice yourself to do those types of questions in the exam, you're going to be exposed to enough content of the subject that you're studying for anyway, so that when those weird questions do come up, you have basically got enough background knowledge so that you can almost work out how to solve and approach that weird question correctly anyway. So don't waste your time, going through textbook and finding these weird questions, okay? Just focus on doing the practice exam and using spaced repetition so that you can utilize the fact that all exams are similar to study for the types of questions that are in the exam, and you also utilize spaced repetition so that you can memorize and understand these topics and store it in your long-term memory. So that's the two things I wanted to show you. Hopefully you will take this advice seriously, because it has helped me throughout high school, and it has also helped me throughout university. It's like a cheat code. Every time exam season comes, I'm so excited because I finally get to study so much less. I study like 2 hours a day, every other day, and I still get HD, which is the highest grade you can get in university through all my subjects in the exam anyways, because it's literally so easy to study for an exam. I'm telling you, you can actually get away with not studying much at all throughout the semester, and then when the exam comes, you just go through the practice papers, and I don't know, it's so weird how you don't have to study that much throughout the semester, and then when the exam comes, you can just do a few practice papers and you're all good. You can get a high distinction in your exam anyways. So that's just 2 tips that I wanted to show you. Please take them seriously. I hope you will achieve highly in your exams when spending less time studying. Okay? This is me signing out. Goodbye.